Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. If you thought the Utah Mammoth were struggling and you thought that, the Roadrunners, they must be doing well, it seems like the Roadrunners are doing their best Utah Mammoth impression. Not off to a hot start, just struggling a little bit out of the gate. I do think they'll get a bit better as the season goes on, but they're currently 7-2 in the standings, ninth place in their Pacific Division. There's 10 teams in the division. 7 out of the 10 teams make the playoffs. So it's kind of hard to miss the playoffs. And they're ninth. They're 3 points away from fifth place. So they're right there in the mix. They just got to string together some wins and get above that 500 record that they currently have. Their goals for per game, 2.94. Also way down in the dumps in their division, 2.94. In the American Hockey League, in their division, it seems like a lot of teams are scoring a lot. So you got to get that goals for per game number probably around 3.2 to be really good in the division. Goals against per game, 3.13. Even though it's above 3, which I don't like, it's still fifth in the division. So one of their better stat lines. There's not a lot of stats in the American Hockey League. So you got to go with like surface level stats here. Power play, last in the division. Utah as well has a pretty bad power play. So it's not like their farm team is doing their power play better than Utah, just above 70%. But like the Mammoth, their PK is really good, third in the division at just about over 80%. Their last 10 games are 4-5-1. But like I said, I expect things to get better. And probably the main reason is that Kevin Rooney is back in the lineup. He's only played 7 games for the Roadrunners. He was called up to Utah Mammoth, didn't play any games. He was there for sort of insurance policy. If someone was banged up down the center position, Stenlund, it was a bit, we're not sure. He took that hit to the head. If he had to miss a game or two, Rooney would have stepped up. In a perfect world, like in the off season, we thought that the Roadrunners, they would have Agazino, they would have Yamamoto full time. They got Rooney off waivers. They would have had Rooney full time. But due to Kerfoot's injury, Yamamoto's up with the Utah Mammoth. And I think now that if they try to sneak Yamamoto through waivers to go to Tucson once Kerfoot is healthy, he might get claimed. He's doing a pretty good job up with the Utah Mammoth. The reason why Rooney's back with the team this weekend is because Jersey is healthy. He's practicing in a contact jersey, a regular jersey. So we expect Jersey to be in the Utah lineup maybe as soon as the Vegas game or the Montreal game or on their road trip that starts near the end of the week. Their lines at the season preview, no one was reporting their lines. Thankfully, there's reporting now of their lineups some nights. This is the most recent lineup I could find. I believe this was Saturday's game against the Colorado Eagles. If you want to follow the Tucson Roadrunners, Chase Beardsley is doing a great job. Sometimes he goes down to Tucson to watch some games. He's also a Utah Mammoth reporter. So if you want to keep a peripheral touch base on the Roadrunners, it's good to give him a follow. But you got McCartney, Poganski, and Hebig as your first line. I expect Rooney to jump up to that first line very soon. But is on the second line with Agazino and Walker. So 2 American Hockey League veterans Daniil But is playing with. Third line is currently Kunch, Rooney, and Matika. And then fourth line, a full prospect line of Lutz, Allard, and Nord. McGregor, Tullio are sometimes in the lineup. And Sam Lipkin is like the most scratched prospect for the Roadrunners. He's only played 10 games, only has 1 point. He's a 7th rounder. He was a point per game player in the NCAA for 2 seasons, but since coming over to American Hockey League, he's had a really rough time. So I guess he's living up to that 7th round pedigree, but it's never good to see a prospect really struggle at the American Hockey League level. For the defense pairings, we got Duda and Perunovic, Zuber and Lamoureux, and Russo and Connaughton as your bottom pairing. Moore and Onyebuchi are your guys that are sort of scratched or sometimes filling in to the lineup. Let's get to the biggest positive news of the video and for the Roadrunners is Daniil But is the leading scorer for the Tucson Roadrunners in terms of goals and total points. I'm watching this guy's goal highlights. He attacks the middle of the ice. He loves to shoot, and he's got a great shot as well. He's got that shoot first mentality. He sort of circles the zone, but he gets in the inside. He's not perimeter, which I love to see, because currently with the Mammoth, a little bit too perimeter in the top 6. So maybe, and I think we'll see Daniil But, sometime this season. When are we going to see him? I think around 25 games in the American Hockey League is good. I think then they'll give him a look. So maybe around late December, maybe January. The schedule gets really condensed for the Utah Mammoth currently as I'm making this video, and in December through January, because you got the Olympic break, like 2.5 weeks off in February. And it's not just Utah Mammoth. All NHL teams are facing a really hard condensed schedule. So if they need a fresh legs, fresh body, some energy, they could call up But in this very condensed schedule period of time. But great to see But getting 8 goals, 14 points, and 16 games played. Hebig doing a great job as well. An American Hockey League veteran, not a prospect. The prospects are starred with the Green Star. Hebig's got 14 points in 16 games played. Great to see Ben McCartney. He's been with the organization for like 4 or 5 years now. He's finally fully healthy, playing all the games, 16 games, and he's producing really good numbers, 13 points in 16 games played. But he is a bottom 6 player if he ever gets called up to the Utah Mammoth. And he's playing like he deserves a little bit of a call-up. But again, he's a bottom 6 player, so you're only looking, if something happens to a Utah player on the 4th line, then maybe you get a look at Ben McCartney. Poganski, the captain, another American Hockey League veteran, along with Walker. Poganski, 11 points, 16 games. Walker, 9 points, 16 games. Kunch, a free agent signing in the summer, 6 points in 16 games played. So the forward points just like drop suddenly pretty much after Walker. Owen Allard and Noel Nord, this is their first full season in the American Hockey League. Allard's doing okay, 5 points in 16 games played. Allard and Nord were teammates in the Ontario Hockey League for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. So their first pro season, they're struggling just a little bit. Their points aren't really jumping off the page here. Nord, 4 points in 13 games played. Matika scoring his first pro goal at the American Hockey League level. It's his 2nd season with the Roadrunners. His point production is not good. 3 points in 12 games. Him and his wife had a child, so he missed some games. He was also scratched this weekend against their series against the Colorado Eagles. So some prospects are getting scratched and not playing the full 16 games. We see Nord only playing 13. He wasn't injured. And then Julian Lutz, he's playing all 16 games played. That's good to see. And he's got 2 goals, but only 2 points in 16 games played. He is a 2nd-round draft pick. I need him to pick it up and be better. For the defense side of things, American Hockey League veteran Scott Perunovich, who was a free agent signing for Utah, leads the way, 9 points in 15 games played. Zuber, some good production numbers for like a big body defenseman, 8 points in 13 games played. Duda and Lamoureux gained a lot of assists, but no goals. Duda, 8 points in 14 games played, and Lamoureux 6 in 16 games played. Lamoureux, he only had 13 points in 42 games played last season. So he's already at half that production in way less games. Hopefully he could pick it up a little bit better. And the goalies, if you think the Utah Mammoth goaltending is an issue, is a problem, they need to fix it, you're not getting the help from the Tucson Roadrunners. Even though their numbers are better than the Utah goalies. Vialta, 5-3-1, almost a 900 save percentage, which you like to see. 3.0 goals against average. Stauber, 2-4-1, an 897 save percentage, and 277 goals against average. My opinion is these goalies are not ready for the NHL just yet. Vialta, like 2 seasons ago, had an all-star season. He was looking incredible. Last season, he had a really bad year, a rough year. But this season, it seems like he's not getting to that all-star level just yet. Just need everyone on this team to be a bit better. Daniil But seems like the only player who's doing exactly what we need him to be, a 1st-round pick, being the leading scorer in the offense department. So everyone just needs to pick it up, just like the Utah Mammoth. A lot of players, pretty much everyone, just needs to be that 10% a little bit better. But there's a great quote from the head coach, Steve Potvin here, where it's not all about wins and points. So here's the quote as tweeted out by Chase Beardsley earlier in the season. The head coach says, "We're optimistic, but we're also cautious. We've got to work. We're not here just to win AHL games. We've got to make sure that these guys are taking the next step in their careers and play at the next level. That is our goal." So for me and for all of us, I guess we're not supposed to be so focused on wins, on points. Are they top 3 in division? It's about how these players are developing. And it's really hard when you're focusing on the NHL and you're not watching these American Hockey League games. All the stats you get are, the stats, their goals, assists, points, and these surface level stats and whatever reporter is reporting. And we only have really Chase Beardsley getting quotes from the team. So it's really hard to see how these guys are developing. I think for me, the fact that most of our prospects are playing the full 16 games they've played, they're getting some good points. There's a few guys that are underproducing, like Matika, Lutz, and Lipkin, to focus those guys out. But they got to develop well. I love what But is doing. Like the fact that it's his first 16 games in North America coming from Russia, and in Russia in the KHL, he wasn't a point getter. Like he was playing down in the lineup, maybe 13 points, 13 minutes per game. He wasn't, scoring at will, but the fact that he's come over and he's scoring at will immediately in the first 16 games is a great sign and is probably the only bright spot right now for the Tucson Roadrunners. So hopefully they start to pick it up, start to play a little bit better, and we start to see more prospects just get some success offensively. And, Lamoureux, I expect him to be better. I think Duda's doing exactly what I've expected. Zuber's probably over my expectation, but I expect Lamoureux to be that offensive D-man. So would like to see some more goals from him. But this is the Tucson Roadrunners report. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.